Hello friends and welcome to my YouTube channel Simply Stocks, and today I'm going to talk about Abbott India, a very interesting pharmaceutical company that has firm fundamentals, but let's understand how will the company do in the future and what you should do. So let's get started. First of all, a disclaimer that this is not a stock recommendation, and people taking any position into any share that I talk about should do that with their own due diligence and research. And I'm not in favor or against any company that I talk about. Before I start with the analysis of About India, here's a small request that kindly support me on Patreon, and that will help me grow the channel. That will also help you ask me questions on Patreon. With a $10 Patreon fee, you can ask me one query every day with respect to markets and stocks. And if you want detailed analysis on markets and detailed analysis on your stocks or portfolio, then you can kindly email me, and we can find a way out for that even. Also, you get exclusive access to some of the you can say stocks that I buy continuously, that I sell. You have access to my portfolio, a watch list that I am preparing, and so on and so forth. So there are many things that goes on Patreon. Now about India. It is present in India since 1944, and they provide medical solutions across the board. It is spread over 160 nations across the world, and they provide cardiovascular, diabetes, and diagnostics, as well as nutrition, as well as pharmaceutical products. So it is a one-stop shop for all kind of pharmaceutical and healthcare products that anybody requires, and that's why it is considered one of the largest, you can say, MNC pharma company that is listed in India, and one of the most reputed one. They exports around the globe to around 170 countries, and it is a market leader in blood screening, adult nutrition, yeah, you can say pediatric nutrition, and all. Some of its brands such as Pediasure, Pedialyte, Brufen, and Ensure are extremely famous among, you can say, nutrition for the older people, for people who are not able to take proper food, etc. So these are extremely expensive brands that are selling across the globe, and pretty renowned ones. Coming to the financials of the company, so this is Q3 of this year compared to the last year, 13.7% growth in sales. But look at that, the profit growth has been exceptional at around 60%, and this is because of the operational efficiency that has set in the company, and cost cutting and expenses getting down. So because of crude oil getting lower, etc. So many other things have come together to bring the operational cost lower, as well as the final expenses lower, and so the profit grew by around 60%. It is a completely debt free company, high promoter and institutional holding, only 16% free float is there. Return on equity of 24% is second to none in the pharmaceutical industry, and you find that 20 to 25% ROE in consumption companies rather than in a pharma company, where the ROE is in the mid teens or so, and that is why it is regarded one of the, you can say, market leaders in this sector, and an operating profit margin of around 19%. If you look at the stock performance, then stock has been in an up move for the last 5 years. So it has doubled in just 1 year, and has been in an up move, and has become something like 4x in 5 years. It was around 8,000, 8,500 just about in March 2019, and by February it ended up being around 17, 18,000. It fell only about 20% during that March mayhem in the markets, when the market fell from 12,300 all the way to 7,500. The stock fell around about 18 to 20%. Has been a consistent gainer over the last 1 decade, you could say last 10 years. The market cap has swelled up to something like 35,000 crores, from merely something like 7,000, or you could say around 8 9,000 crores. Only 9,000 crore has become 35,000 crore in the last 5 6 years. Currently trades at 60 times earnings, which looks slightly stretched to me, but then numbers have been so solid that it doesn't look like that the price of the stock would fall. Also, it is in, you can say, partnership with at least one or a couple of companies which are trying to make COVID like testing kits, which are also like looking at making COVID, you can say, vaccine. So it has been tied up with some of the companies in US, which is trying to get into this system and trying to help the community by finding out the vaccine. So that's why Abbott has also reached new highs recently. Remember that there is no wild moves, and currently it has low volume, so it is illiquid in nature. But since the major portion of the shareholding is with the larger investors, there's very little wild moves that take place, that 8-10% up and down. It usually moves in a range of 2-3%. And usually when things are on its side and when things are going well, then Abbott's share just keeps going up on a consistent basis. It cannot be traded on a short term basis, because short term you may lose and you may win, but over a longer period of time it looks a very smooth chart. It looks pretty interesting and very nice to see it go even further. So consistent performer, market cap has swelled up, uh, numbers being solid, but on a technical chart also it rarely falls and rarely goes in that direction. So long term support lies at around 12,300. The short term support is at around 15,400. So any dip towards 16,000 to 15,000 levels are very good buying opportunity. It rarely falls. And remember that do not trade on a 3-4 month basis, but invest into it over a 2-3 year period. A big up move is expected above 18,000 levels. So what needs to be done? In my opinion, you can buy for long term at these levels or on major declines. So just stagger your buying strategy, and you can buy for a longer period of time. Hold and keep track of global events if you already have the stock. Yes, it may correct if 10-15%, if the market corrects around 8-10% from here, and the market has seen a very sharp up move. So in that regard, you could have a situation where the stock may go back to 15,000 or 14,500, 14,300. Any level below 16,000 a very good buying opportunity for a longer period of time. Always have a something like a 5 year time frame, 5-7 year time frame. You'll be fine in such a company. Remember, it is a top MNC. It is not a regular pharmaceutical company. And if you look at the return ratios, it can clearly tell you that it is regarded, you could regard it as a consumption company altogether. So basically, what is to be said here is that on major declines you should buy it. It is a portfolio stock that should be held on to for the longer period of time, 5 to 7 years. Yes, the returns could be in the mid teens in terms of stock rise, or it could go up to in 18 to 20% range on a year basis for the next 6-7 years. And always have less than 10% of the exposure in such stocks. In very small cap low brand companies or with no branding, you should have less than 5%, but in these you can put it up or scale it up to 7-8% of your portfolio. So this was my video on About India. Please like and subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so that you can get my videos straight away when I post it. Thanks a lot for watching.